In 2015, Star Wars was back in, better than ever. Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens, is directed by J.J. Abrams and stars Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, Oscar Isaac, Adam Driver, Harrison Ford, and Carrie Fisher. I remember when this movie came out 5 years ago. Wow, 5 years? I feel old. At the time, this was the most hyped movie of all time. Apparently not hyped enough to be the highest grossing movie of all time, but hyped. How did Avatar beat Star Wars? What world do we live in where Avatar and Titanic beat Star Wars? Don't like it. I don't like it. A lot of people would probably say that this might be the best Disney Star Wars movie, and I don't agree. It is definitely the second best for me personally, but it's not the best. Next review will be the best. But this movie is really good, and I really like. This is a cast, man. This is a cast. He gets a couple of pretty much no names. You get some people who've done some things and that you might know, and then you got the classic, the people that we know, Star Wars fans know. You might not, you might Harrison Ford especially. You probably know without seeing Star Wars, and that is a cast. That is a great cast. The marketing for this is probably one of the best Star Wars marketing in all. For the most part, I think for the most part, the marketing for the Disney Star Wars movies were quite good. For the most part, there are exceptions, but the marketing for all the Disney Star Wars movies were pretty good. This one was the best though. We didn't know much about this movie. That first teaser, we got there's been an awakening. Have you felt it between the light and the dark? And then Kylo Ren's lightsaber revealed, and Finn just kind of like, and BB-8, and then Millennium Falcon shot, and then boom, title. That's all. And then Stormtrooper shots, and then boom, title. That's all we had. And then even the official trailer was we just got to see more of the cast, and then a couple lines like, "Chewie, we're home." It's true, all of it. Duh, duh. And got to see more of the cast in action and stuff. So going into this movie, you probably didn't know much about it, which is sort of like Endgame's marketing. These two movies did marketing right. I mean, this was a movie that you didn't need to tell us what was happening. We were gonna see it. Star Wars, back to basics. We were gonna see this movie. You didn't need to give us a trailer. You just needed to give us a time and date, and we were going to see this movie. And you may not even if you don't like these modern Star Wars movies, you have to admit that you were excited for this movie and you were going to see it. If you love Star Wars at all, then you were excited and you were going to see it. The biggest complaint about this movie is the fact that it's too much like a New Hope, and I get that it is a lot like it. Going out of the theater, and this is 5 years ago, so I wasn't into like movies then. So going out of the theater, even I was like, that was a lot like the original. I didn't hate it. No, I loved it still. But I just noticed that it was a lot like the original. I'm like, alright. It worked. And I see why they did it. The prequels were quite different from what we were sort of used to. They wanted to ease us back in. They wanted to get us into our comforts. These were the Star Wars that we grew up with. They wanted to put us right back in there. And I understand why they personally did it this way. And I commend them for that. It's a perfect way. And I feel like people are a lot more lenient now about the too much like New Hope sort of thing. Like that's a complaint that people have lessened on over time and starting to grow on Force Awakens. And now most people who hate Disney Star Wars will probably say that this is the best one. And they'll say they probably liked it. Again, I don't agree. I think Disney Star Wars is pretty great, but that's my personal opinion. This is a mainly practical movie, and it is fantastic. I love that this movie is mainly practical. Over reliance on CG in the prequels, it was nice to go back to basics and just have a mainly shot in camera movie, which is also impressive this day and age to have a sci-fi movie mostly in camera. I mean, most of the time, I love Gravity. Gravity's a great movie, but that is definitely not an in camera movie. So I feel like it would have been easier for Star Wars, and would have looked really good too. We have the technology now to make very good looking special effects. Again, point to Gravity, but they chose to make this all in camera, and it works so much better. And I think I love it way more. The acting is amazing. We get some really good characterizations. We get setups to some great character arcs. I will talk about these in my Rise of Skywalker review. Don't worry. But we get setups to great characters. We get introductions to great characters. Because let's be honest, we all love Finn. Finn, the introduction to Finn and his character, we were all excited to where that was going to go. And yes, Finn's character over the course of the trilogy is a low point I have with these movies. I will give the Disney Star Wars haters that. Finn was mistreated. The action is really well done. This is a villain that I love. Kylo Ren is a great villain because there's writing with him. Like, Vader is an awesome and cool villain, but we didn't really get anything with him. That core trilogy, the most we got out of him was Return of the Jedi and one line in Empire. That was what we got out of him. This entire trilogy was based around developing and writing out Kylo Ren's character, and it even started with this one with having a pretty fleshed out character, getting everything we need to know about him, and starting up his arc. So I honestly, for a more pure awesomeness, definitely Vader is a better villain. But just for a better written character, then I have to go Kylo. Kylo is a better written character, and I'm taking into account the prequels for Vader, not Clone Wars. That's cheating. That doesn't count. I'm not counting Clone Wars. That doesn't count. It's canon, but I'm not counting it because that writing... You don't need a show to make a character better written. You just need the movie. The movies were for that reason. Just shut up. This isn't a prequel review. This is a Force Awakens review. I love The Force Awakens. I love this movie. Like I said, even now I can still sort of feel like there are definitely moments where I feel like, yeah, maybe you leaned a little too heavily on nostalgia there. I do understand why they're doing it for the most part, but there are some moments where it's like, alright, that's a little too much nostalgia. Sometimes it feels like the CGI space slug things was kind of a useless action sequence that I really wasn't intrigued by, didn't really care about. I just was waiting for it to go on. Because for the most part, the movie's really well paced, except for that little action sequence. And I'm like, I didn't like Snoke in this movie. I don't like him in the next one. It's a good thing that we got revealed about Snoke, because if he was our big bad, that we were in trouble, because I never cared about Snoke at all. I never thought he was cool. I never thought he was intimidating. I was waiting for a hopefully like Jedi like moment where he's like, yeah, manipulating people and just. But no, we never got that in these two movies, so I'm glad we got. So yeah, I'm happy with what happened with Snoke in Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, because I was not into Snoke's character, and I was hoping that I wasn't gonna have to stay with him. Thankfully, I did not. Phasma was definitely mistreated in both this one and 8. Especially since you got Brienne of Tarth in there. Come on. You got Brienne of Tarth to be in your Star Wars movie, and that's the best you can do with her. Gwendolyn Christie, you deserve better. I'm going to give Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens, a 95 Starkiller bases out of 100. This movie is great. And if you love Star Wars, you probably either like or love this movie. I feel like it's hard to find someone who hates this movie now, simply the fact that people have said that we have gotten worse. And also, once you get down to it, this is probably the most Star Wars movie we've ever gotten since the original trilogy, since Episode 5, really, if you really want to go there. Now, this is the most Star Wars movie we've gotten in the entire franchise since Episode 5, if you really want to go there. So, check this movie out if you're not. If you've seen The Force Awakens, tell me what you thought in the comments below. This is Jordan from Jordan Reviews, signing off.